Just look at this room. I've never seen such a mess in my life.
I don't ever want to catch you drawing on these walls again.
Can't you learn to pick up your toys? What's the matter with you?
How many times do I have to tell you to pick up your clothes?
Being a parent is a very, very difficult thing. We receive no training in it. The only exposure we've had to being a parent is either the experiences that we had with our own parents or what we've seen via the movies or TV. But it's a tough job. It's one we're not prepared for. And it's something that we're probably going to be doing or spending more hours on than we would our job or our hobbies or anything else. Well, so really we could look at our job as that of a teacher, and yet we're ill prepared to teach those kinds of behaviors that are going to make our child as happy as possible. Because really what we need to do is make the world good for this child. And we make the world good for this child by teaching the child that there are consequences to his or her actions.
I can't. I'm sorry. I'm busy. Alan.
Come out and play with me!
Alan, I can't come out and play with you. I'm busy. I'm potting these plants. You go into your room for 5 minutes.
We want to let the child know that there's certain things they can't get away with, and that the good things that they do, we're going to reward them with as much attention and love as we can possibly deliver.
Okay, pour it out. Easy, pour it. I'll stop it from spilling. Okay. What one do you want? Pick one out.
How about that? The windmill.
The windmill.
Kids learn in 3 ways. One is what we would call modeling and imitation. What that means is that the child is always watching us to see what it is that we're doing, and the child tends to imitate that.
Here, I got one.
Now, a second way kids learn is what we tell them, just instructions. And that's sort of tied in with observational learning. We're saying they learn about the world because of the way we tell them the world exists. And the third way they learn, which is probably most important for them over the long run, is in terms of consequences, that there are positive and negative consequences that follow their own actions. And they start learning this very quickly, probably with either the word good following something that they've done, and the word no is generally the negative consequence. No, don't do that. So if you look at those 3 ways of learning, kids begin doing this as soon as they're capable of attending to us, which is at a very, very early age. And as they get older, their ways of watching us and following our instructions and the kinds of consequences and the complexity of their behavior increases.
Mom, I got 3 A's and 2 B's.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, I'm so proud of you.
One of the things that we like to stress at the very beginning of parent training groups is the power that parents have to shape the kinds of behaviors that they want in their child. You really do. You are the main source of rewards for your child. Whether it's your attention, it's the kind of activities you can provide, the child's favorite dessert, it doesn't make any difference. That child is just waiting there for you to do something rewarding for them.
Hey, thank you for playing so nicely together. I'm really proud of you.
Then the question becomes, how do we structure it so we can really deliver to our child? And that requires looking at consequences. Now, one of the main considerations in delivering rewards to a child is this principle of immediacy. When something happens and you like it, then let that child know it.
Look, Mother, I tied my own shoes.
That's wonderful. Let me see. That's wonderful. Let me guess. Great.
We're told that we should pay attention following each appropriate behavior. But that's not easy, as we know, and the real world doesn't operate that way. You can't be running around catching your child every time they're being good. So what we do is we look for some behavior that we want to increase, and we pay attention to it every time. Once it gets going, we can pay attention on an intermittent basis.
Hi, sweetheart.
Hi, Mom.
I have to go to the store for a few minutes. I want you to empty the trash and clear off the kitchen table.
Okay.
And the real world operates that way. In other words, you get attention from your spouse or your boss or whomever it might be, not following each and every appropriate thing you do, but a sufficient number of times so that it maintains that appropriate behavior on your part. We're told to reward our children when they're being good, but how do we find what those rewards should be?
I'm so proud of you.
Now, attention is an obvious one, because attention is so powerful. It's the most powerful of all the rewards. A look toward your child, a smile, a touch.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, I'm so proud of you. That's wonderful.
Is incredibly powerful. But we don't want to limit it solely to attention. There's all kinds of potential rewards that we can use with our children. One way is to simply ask them, what would you like? What can I do for you? What would make you happy? A second way is get the child to try something new. Another possibility is to use what they like to do as rewards for things they don't necessarily like to do.
Allen.
Happy to inform you, sir, that Septemian treaty has been...
I know if we don't get moving, we're going to be in...
Allen, please.
Our messages. Hurry home. Come on here.
My God, don't you understand English? Now get your hand away from that changer.
Parents are going to be much more successful in producing the kind of desired results that they want in their children if the parents can control their own emotions.
Okay, you want me to get tough? I'll get tough. You don't understand simple English like any other kid. I have had it with you.
If you want good behavior and you expect it, you first of all have got to shape it. You've got to nurture it. You've got to make it happen. And if the only time you're interacting with this kid is by yelling at them or telling them that they've done something wrong, you produce what's called a non-compliant child.
Get out of this room. And if I see you do that television again, I'm going to put you through the screen.
I want to go out and play!
1, 2, 3. Get out of here! Get out of the kitchen! Can't you hear me anymore?
Mother, come out and play ball with me!
You sound like a broken record. I can't play with you today. I'm sorry. I'm busy. I am busy. Alan, I cannot play with you. I am busy. Now stop it. Go out and play with someone else.
When you begin shouting and screaming at your child or with them, you engage in a shouting match, you have just said to them, I have lost all control. That you the child, are in control. By keeping control of your emotions, you can then provide those consequences early when the misbehavior begins. And the child is going to learn much more quickly that my parents are consistent and there's no reason to get worse because they are going to come through in a logical, controlled fashion.
Come on, let's go to the store.
Dad, can I have a quarter for gum?
No, let's go to the store. Come on, let's go to the store.
I want a quarter for gum.
Oh. All right, there. Now let's go.
Kids are marvelous at recognizing situations and consequences where you would find it difficult to stop them from doing something or make them do something or require them to do a task.
Mom, can I have this? Mom, buy this for me. Mom, buy me this.
One of the most difficult things to learn as a parent is how to ignore bad behavior. It's not easy to do, because when you're ignoring a child who's misbehaving, what you're going to find is that child is going to get worse before he gets better. The longer you're ignoring whatever it is he's doing, the louder he's going to get, the more likely he is to throw a tantrum, and you got to be prepared to ride out whatever it is that that child does. If at any time you break down and begin paying attention to this child's misbehavior, you will have taught the child, all I have to do is get worse when I'm being ignored, and my parents will pay attention to me. It's very difficult to ignore bad behavior, and you have to set your mind to the fact, I'm going to ride it out no matter what happens.
Come on, let's go to the
Dad,
store.
can I have a quarter to buy some gum?
Come on, let's go.
Dad, I want a quarter.
Now, there are other ways of providing consequences for a child's misbehavior. You could spank them, shake them, all the kinds of very emotion-producing situations that we may have experienced ourselves as children. The problem with that is that you may lose control. And again, if you've lost control, then it's the child that's controlling you. A way of providing punishment for a child that doesn't involve physical contact with the child in the sense of delivering a spanking would be to use a procedure we call timeout, where you remove the child from the environment, from the room, or require the child to go to a corner of the room.
Alan, please. Alan, I've told you before not to do that. Okay, Ellen. Come on. Come on. Come on, Ellen. Let's go. Come on. Okay, Ellen. Now you're going to stay right.
One important consideration in using timeout is that it lasts for a specified period of time, and that the child is also aware of how long this time period is.
Alan? Come on. Let's go.
Now, once the time period has elapsed and you've taken the child out of timeout and returned the child to the original environment where the misbehavior occurred, you wait a minute or so and try to find the child engaged in an appropriate behavior so that you can then provide attention. In this way, the child will learn that bad behavior is followed by timeout and good behavior is rewarded with your attention. So you're helping your child learn a very critical discrimination, because what you're focusing on is the child's behavior, and love does not come into play at all. I love you even if I put you in timeout. I'm putting you in timeout because I don't like your misbehavior.
What game?
I think I can explain it.
How many guests? That's a big wedding. Aunt Mary, are you sure you can handle all of that? What kind of dress is she? Oh, excuse me for a minute. Laura, we're going to eat in a half hour. I'd like you to set the table, please.
I just came home from school.
Well, I've been working all day, and I'd like you to help me.
I want to play.
I want you to set the table.
I want to play.
Laura, can you help me once? Just please.
I want to play.
All right, go and play, and I'll do it myself. Do your kids drive you crazy like my kids do?
There are many activities your child's not going to want to do, just as there's many activities that you don't like to do. And the question is, well, why do we do these activities? We do them because when we engage in these non-preferred tasks, if someone, whether it was our parents or our bosses or whomever, if they provide us with the opportunity to do something we like to do following this non-preferred activity, we're going to perform the non-preferred activity for them.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, honey. How are you? How was school today?
Okay.
Tell you what. I have to finish my work, and I'd like you to help me set the table, okay?
But, Mom, I just came home from school.
Well, I've been working all day, too, and I'm very tired, but I need you to help me by setting the table.
But I want to play.
I'll tell you what. If you set the table just before dinner, you and I can have a game of cards.
Sure.
Ah, okay.
Probably one of the most important techniques in parent training is what we like to refer to as Grandma's Rule. Now, what Grandma's Rule means is that we take an activity that we'd like the child to perform, but it's not something they necessarily want to do. And we follow that task they don't like with an activity reward that they do like. But let's back up just 1 second. If you provide the activity reward first, all is lost because you've already delivered the activity reward. So the way to switch this around is to set it up so the task is performed, but let the child know that immediately following the correct performance of this task, you're going to spend some time with your child, or you're going to let the child engage in an activity that they really like.
Honey, you really did a good job. Let's go play some cards now.
Okay.
Okay. 3, 5, 6, 7. It's every woman for herself here.
Do you have any 5s?
No, go fish.
I picked my wish.
You provide that activity reward, anything that the child has expressed an interest in doing. And for most kids, something they'd really like is some time with you. Now, the best of all worlds is spending time with you in an activity that they like. Because that's the greatest thing you can give a child is your time.
Honey, the kitchen table looks just beautiful. I'd like to thank you for helping me so much.
Thanks, Mom. Do you have any 4s?
Sometimes children don't do tasks, not because they don't want to, but they don't know how to. Because many tasks that seem very simple to us look enormous to a child.
Well, what do you say we get started on cleaning up the room, huh?
I don't know how, Mommy.
You don't know how? Well, why don't we work at it together, okay? Then I'll show you. Come on, let's start. Why don't we start by picking up the shirts?
It may not be that the child is attempting to manipulate you. It may be a simple case that they don't know what it is you want. This is where we can use rewards to get those tasks going. Now, the way we do that is to try to take this enormous task to the child and break it down into some kind of logical components, work side by side with the child initially, providing lots of attention for the child's efforts to complete the task.
Good, Alan. Put him in the toy box.
And then once the child begins to do a few things on his or her own, providing some attention, eventually what will happen is that the child can then begin to do more and more of the components himself or herself, and you can provide attention. And the final product will be when the child completes the entire task, and you only arrive at the completion of the task and give that attention.
Alan, will you look at this room? Look how beautiful it looks. And you did it all by yourself. Well, since you did such a good job, I think you should have a special treat. What do you say to some ice cream? Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, that sounds like a good idea, huh?
Okay, and then stick this up.
We're almost done.
Using rewards with children not only produces well-behaved children, but it produces happier parents. What they're going to gain from their successful use of rewards and attention in positive manner is a long-lasting and positive relationship with their child. But they're also going to learn a lot of skills that they can employ in their everyday interactions with everyone. And using these skills will produce a much better feeling on their part that they have some kind of control over their lives. So the message is, if you want a well-behaved child or well-behaved children, regardless of whether it's in the home or it's out in public, you catch that child being good, and when that child's being good, let them know that you appreciate their efforts. Provide rewards. Give them your attention.